Hello, once again, we are live with the Modern Mystery School UK EU podcast and YouTube channel. And today we are joined by the lovely Sydney. Sydney, how are you?
I am wonderful, and it's such a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you so much.
I'm very excited. My dog obviously is excited. I don't know if you can barking in the background. Now I'm excited to hear this because you were life activated quite a few years ago. And so I would like, if you wouldn't mind casting your mind back, giving us a little bit of insight as to why you wanted to actually get life activated. And then did it do anything, or what were the results?
Yeah, so I was life activated, gosh, I think it's about 13 years ago now, my first life activation. And I didn't really know what I was getting into, quite honestly. But, I think like many of us, I just felt a yes. There was just a yes inside my heart. And I received the life activation. And what I've noticed, it wasn't like a big like explosion in my life, immediately, but it shifted my life so that I got more focused on the things that I came here to do. So it was this shift. And in the years that followed the life activation, I got up to more things. I started teaching some workshops. I started just like the things that I had kind of thought about doing that were in the background that I was like, yeah, I should do that. I started doing them, and I started to get like focused. I started creating, and that's what I see so often with the life activation is that it's like a shift towards more of what you came here to do, and that has certainly been the case in my life for the last 13 years.
That's amazing, and I agree. I agree with that. It's so tremendous because it keeps working with you. It's there. It's not kind of a one and done. It's something that's always there, and I love that. And I mean, you're a very experienced therapist. You have a very successful business. You've done body work. I mean, there's a lot that you do out there. Would you recommend, I mean, with the life activation, you're a life activation practitioner now. Would you say that it's really for one kind of person or not for another? Do you have to be spiritual, or what do you feel?
Yeah, no, it is absolutely a universal tool for sure. And there isn't anyone or any age or any status in life that I wouldn't recommend the life activation to. And I work with all kinds of people in my healing practice and my bodywork practice. And the life activation is so unique and so special. After a massage, for example, when I give somebody body work, it's like they're going to experience the benefit of that massage most acutely over the next few days after I see them. And I tell people the life activation is almost the opposite. Like you're going to experience the impact of this life activation for months and years to come. It isn't a like something that you get and starts to fade, right? It's something that you get and it starts to work in your life. And when I check in with people months down the line, it's like their life has suddenly shifted to be more expansive, more doors have opened, changes have happened, and it's so unique. And also, being in the realm of the healing arts for a very, very long time, exploring lots of different modalities, there's no other modality that will actually brighten your connection to spirit, you know? Like I can help people release a lot of things, clear a lot of things, integrate things, but to actually be able to reach in and brighten their connection to spirit is so powerful and so unique. And it's something everyone benefits from, no matter where they are in their life.
I love that, and it's so right. What I love about that is that you are very experienced in many different arenas, and you have experienced things, and then when somebody comes from that place and they know from direct experience that this is something very unique and very special, and I think that holds such weight. So thank you for sharing that. I love that. And so, in your practice, then, are there any? I mean, you've given us a little bit. Are there any stories or anything? One session that kind of jumps out at you? One, that somebody had a life activation, you think, oh, that we might be interested to hear?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Well, one that comes to mind, and I've worked with a number of artists actually, and so this is an experience I've seen with a few different artists where, they're doing their art, they're making their music or they're making their paintings, but they receive the life activation. I had one musician, he received the life activation that night. He went home and just stayed up all night writing music. And then in the year that followed, he released his first solo album. And then I have another artist, she's a painter, she's been painting for a very long time. And in the year that followed her life activation, she started getting her things into galleries. And, and it's just so beautiful how it shows up so uniquely. And just this week, actually had the opportunity to life activate a 17-year-old. And it was so, this is actually the second younger person I've gotten to share this with. I know it's such a hard time in life, right? To being 17 and all of the things. And, he came in of his own choosing, and he talked about how he felt he was feeling kind of this constriction and this contraction. And, he'd had a hard year and he wanted to kind of have a reset. And after his life activation, he talked about how he felt so much more open and expanded. And, I'm so excited to see what's going to happen at 17 to be able to get this experience.
Yeah. Please carry on. Please carry on. Yes.
The other thing I notice consistently with all my clients is whatever they're working on becomes easier. So if they're working on healing something, like I can think of so many cases because people come into me, they're looking to resolve some kind of pain or suffering, right? They're working on something, and I have so many tools I can offer them for that. But it's like, if I give them the life activation first, all our work together will be so much easier. It's going to flow more. If there's going to be less resistance, they're going to be able to move through whatever they're moving through just so much quicker. It's like it kind of paves the way, smooths the way for the changes that they're seeking.
100%. And I remember it being explained to me that the life activation is the fertile ground from which all healing takes place. I mean, amazing. So that's exactly what you're saying.
Absolutely. I mean, the difference between, working with somebody who hasn't had a life activation and somebody who started with a life activation is night and day. It's like, we'll be like pushing something up a hill or pushing something down a hill. It's so different. Yes.
Different. And I also really love that you talked about the younger generation as well, because sometimes that gets missed. And I too have had that experience with the younger generation stepping forward and wanting this, and it really does transform their lives, because it is a tough time in life. We've all been there, and it's not always easy. So that's a really good point, that people might not realize that this is actually something that the younger generation can really benefit from.
Absolutely. And the other thing that's really beautiful about that is they're also quite naturally open. They've had less, kind of life get on them. And so they're naturally quite open and very receptive. Sometimes we prejudge, that generation, but they're actually quite hungry and ready.
My goodness, our time has whizzed by. Thank you so much for all that amazing insight. And if anybody would like a life activation, they're watching this on replay, get in touch with us, Sydney, myself, and if we're not in your local area, we will find you somebody. We know people in 55 countries or something. So we'll find you somebody. Thank you, Sydney, so much for sharing your wisdom. That was lovely.
Thank you, Dr. Kate. It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
And hopefully you'll come back on and you'll share a little bit about, other, maybe initiation and some other classes that you've taken with the Mystery School.
I'd love to.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody.